Husky fans, welcome into NIU Weekly. We're talking basketball, both men's and women's, this week on the show. I'm Andy Garcia. We're going to talk to Rashon, Burno, his team getting ready for the last of 8 straight on the road. They're at VCU on Saturday. While we talk women's basketball with Lisa Carlsen, they've won 8 straight. They come back home. They'll host SIUE at the Convocation Center Saturday at noon. So we got basketball for you on this NIU Weekly. First things up, it's men's basketball. Well, NIU men's basketball got one more road game to finish off the 8-game road trip, taking on VCU on Saturday, as Rashon Burno has joined us. And, Coach, just describe the trip. I mean, you guys have been all over the place, playing different styles of basketball, playing different teams. It's been a fun non-conference. You've been all over the place. Just describe the trip so far.
It's been taxing on the guys. It's a journey that it's really rooted in process, right? Meaning our goal is to be ready for January 3rd and playing different styles, being in environments where you got 2 days prep that gears you for conference play, regular conference tournament play, but also the NCAA tournament. And so we wanted to really go out and challenge our guys physically, mentally, to be able to withstand a really, really tough, grueling MAC schedule.
What have you seen so far from a guy like Keyshawn Williams, who it just seems like he's kind of taken off from last year, averaging 18 points, had 25 versus Gonzaga. We saw the top 10 Sports Center plays. Seems like Keyshawn is taking it to the next level. Yes,
Keyshawn is a pleasure to coach because he's a constant, professional in his approach. He's taken, the brunt of the scouting report from the opposing teams. They know he's a focal point of our offense, our team. And so he's handled it like a pro in regards to just his process. He's very detail-oriented. He accepts coaching, accepts where he is in the moment. But he's a really, really, when we first got him, his talent is there. It's just, he's still willing and able to get better in certain areas. But he's a good player. He can, and he's very efficient. 47 from the field, 38 from three.
Yeah.
I want to say about 80%. And he's second on the team in assists to turnovers. So he's a really good player. I'm happy for him. But now guys get along with the rest of the guys. They got to step up to be another advocate to help Keyshawn along the way.
Yeah, two of those guys, Zariq Nutter, David Coit, getting D1 experience, Coach. It's got to help him. And again, we've talked about Nutter and his size and what he can bring. And we know David Coit. We've seen his shooting ability already. But it just seems like getting games under their belt for Zariq and David is just going to help him right now.
Yeah, and that's the key for non-conference. The difficult part is to really keep everyone locked in and focus on the long-term goal. Because in today's world, everything is instant gratification, instant feedback. And, obviously a lot of people project their fears and desires onto young men. But David is a guy that's going to be better. And he's constantly gotten better. This is his trial by fire, along with Nutter. Those guys are starting to see the game and it's starting to slow down for him, which will allow those guys to make better reads, better plays, and add to the things that Keyshawn can do on a nightly basis.
Are you seeing that chemistry with Keyshawn, Zariq, David getting better? Again, it takes games, right, Coach? And you've got guys that can score the basketball. Just those are 3. You've got others. But does it just take games to get that chemistry flowing?
Yeah, it takes games and practice. But nothing is like game reps.
Yeah.
So the thing for those guys is to stay consistent with their approach. Not to try to do too much, trust each other. And that's what competition does. That's when you go into tough environments and you're battling guys who are, just as good or even better in regards to team chemistry. It forces you guys to trust each other. Without conflict, you don't have trust. And so we could have played an easy schedule and felt good about where we were, but not truly know and not truly been tested until MAC conference play. And I don't think you can reach your full potential in doing that. So hopefully going through these battles, going to Gonzaga, being down 6 at half to a team that, obviously played, I think they're number 1 or number 2 strength of schedule in the country. And so going in those battles, going against VCU on the road, playing teams like that will get you battle tested, but also builds trust within your team. This is a very young team experience-wise, outside of Anthony Crump and Caleb Thornton and Darwishi Hunter and Zion Russell. None of these guys really played collegiate basketball. So that's just some of the stuff that gets lost. So these games is all geared to get us ready for conference play.
You mentioned Anthony Crump coming off a really nice game, career high 20 points, 8 rebounds. What do you like about Crump? What did you like about Crump versus Gonzaga? And can he continue to use that momentum? He's getting a lot of playing time. He's going to be part of this roster, big part of this team. What did you like about what you saw against Gonzaga with Anthony?
He played within himself. He played within himself. He took advantage of the game plan. They were going to gap him and give him a ton of space. And he really got himself downhill, got himself to the foul line, made his free throws, and then he had early success. Anytime as a player, as a person, you have early success, it only bodes well in the confidence department. Hopefully we can bottle what he did at Gonzaga and continue to build and bring that into the next game. So I was extremely happy with him. Obviously Crump is a prideful person. He works his tail off. He's a consummate pro for the team. And so to see him have success on that stage, hopefully we can take that into the next step of the season.
I know you're not going to use injuries as an excuse. I mean, teams have injuries, but it gives you an opportunity to have different lineups to see what other guys can do. But you're getting some of those guys back. We'll talk about Yannick, but through injuries, and hopefully all those guys come back, you've had to play different rotations. It's something you're going to, maybe use when you get into conference play.
Yeah, and I think what it does is allows you to see what the depth looks like.
Yeah.
Right now we got 12, 13 guys all have played this non-conference, right? So I think the guys that are playing a bulk of the minutes, you got to worry about wear and tear. You got to worry about durability. Injuries, the one thing that does hurt you is chemistry.
Yeah.
Right. Because you don't want to run out different lineups, consistently. You want to be consistent in regards to rotations and role allocation. And so, being injured with, a little bit with, Yannick, Caleb Thornton, some of these guys have been out for the Gonzaga game. Hopefully we can get them back, have 2 solid days of practice. But injuries can derail a season. It's unpredictable, but, obviously guys got to step up and make the most of the opportunity that presents it.
When you're on the road as much as you have been coached, you're around each other a lot, just the bonding. I don't think a lot of fans and even a lot of media members understand that you guys are around together. It's getting to know your teammate. It's having lunches, breakfasts, just hanging out. And you guys have been able to do that. How can that help this team moving forward?
Well, tremendously, because, basketball is a game of trust. And you look at you look at the teams who are older doing well. That's because they've been in battles before. There's a blind trust that goes into that. And so when you're on the road, you're able to lock in less distractions, more laser-like focus, team meals where you can really sit down. There's not a time limit that we can sit down and relax and really get to know each other off the court. So, those things will bode well. The goal is to obviously play really, really good basketball in January, February, leading into Cleveland. And so hopefully all the lessons we've learned thus far will bode well for us. I think it will. I think these guys have gotten better. We were an injured group going into Gonzaga, coming off a bad loss at Idaho. So I think if you saw the first half, you saw the first, 4 minutes of the second half, you can see that there's growth. And that's, a depleted group, but all working towards the same goal. So we got a tough one on Friday, quick turnaround. But yet again, Gonzaga will bode well for VCU because these guys know what to expect going into another hostile environment.
Yeah. It was great to see Yannick Conan Niederhauser out there. I mean, you've talked about what the talent he could bring. 3 games now into it. He started versus Gonzaga. I know you just want to kind of ease him in, but now we're going to start to see Yannick get more playing time now that he's able to practice and get in there, Coach.
Yeah, he's no longer on a minute restriction, but we also still got to be cognizant of his foot. So we're going to definitely play him as much as is tolerable. But he's a guy that needs reps. He's another young guy with no collegiate experience, who missed a full, preseason. But he's going to play. He gives us a unique player because of his size and his ability to shoot it. He puts pressure at the rim. and he needs to be accounted for, which now allow guys to play out of closeouts in certain situations. So, but he's still getting better. I mean, he's eager to do more. We just got to slow the process and allow him to, get his conditioning to 100%. So, he'll definitely play more and hopefully give us more production.
He could do starter minutes, couldn't he, at some point, Coach? I mean, we could see Yannick be one of those starters for most.
Yes, absolutely. Yet again, he's off minute restriction.
Yeah.
It's just more so his endurance because he hasn't had weeks of full practice. It's been, pockets of skill development because we still have to monitor the injury. Yeah. But he's definitely full go, and the more load that he can handle, the more we'll give him. But it's also being aware of the long term, getting him ready for conference play.
Let's talk about VCU, kind of like your next upcoming games. You got VCU on Saturday. You get back home on Tuesday, Albany, and then you go to Indiana State to finish up. So you got 3 more coming up. Kind of give us just the next week and a half of what you're expecting from some of the teams and getting some guys back, as you mentioned. Hopefully having some guys back for VCU and just getting ready closer to the MAC, but you got 3 more here in the knock-on.
VCU presents a difficult challenge because of their style of play. Bodies will matter because they play, 94 feet. They press. They really get after you. And so you're going to need bodies so you can be fresh down the stretch in the second half. They're super athletic. They want to disrupt you on both ends of the floor. They play fast. So we got our hands full, but I think what we do will bode well versus them. They're similar in style of play, a ton of ball screens. So we gotta really, really value the ball because of the pressure. And then Albany will be phenomenal to get back home. It's a quick turnaround. So we'll have a 1.5 day prep. Coming back from the VCU game, good to get back and play in front of our friends and family. Yeah. And then being at the Convocation Center, we got to do a good job of protecting home. But they're a good team. They're coming off of a short prep. They'll play Northwestern before they play us. So I expect us to have a lot more energy being at home for the first time in 8 games or 30 plus days. And then Indiana State is really playing well coached, they've run great offense, and yet again another road game. So we got our hands full the next 3 games, but I think you'll start to see both sides of the ball really come together. Guys are going to have a little bit more, have some confidence coming out of Gonzaga, and then hopefully getting the bodies back will impact the starters where they can be fresher. And guys aren't playing such a heavy load to David Courts, to Keyshawn Williams, to Zaire Nutters. Those guys' minutes will decrease with the added addition of some of the returners.
Looking forward to on Saturday, VCU, but really looking forward to getting you back and seeing you at the Convocation Center on Tuesday, taking on Albany and then finishing up in Indiana State. Great to catch up with you. Good luck the upcoming week, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, be safe.
Well, from the men's basketball team that is now finishing up 8 straight on the road, I go to Lisa Carlsen in women's basketball. They've won 8 straight games. Lisa, it's great to be with you again and catching up. And congratulations so far. 8-1, 8 in a row. 5 of those coming on the road, Coach. What's impressed you most about this streak so far?
Well, I think part of it is every game has really been a unique opportunity, and we've had to find different ways to win ball games. That we've had some tight ones that have really come down to the last possession, which I think is really good for our team going forward, because I think those are moments that hopefully can help you as the season goes on. And then we've had some where we've played really, really well and been able to dominate on the court. So I think the different ways that we've had to find to win has been the most exciting.
In that winning streak, you've got the 3 game winners, all from 3 different players, Emily Minert, and then you got Jaden Marable and then Shelby Coker. Talk about what that shows in the roster, about who can go up and who can make the clutch shot, but also just the depth you have right now where you're getting a lot of players getting playing time. You're finding different ways, different formulas, different lineups to get these wins.
Well, I think you kind of hit on it, Andy. I feel like this is a team where we have great depth and we have a lot of trust in each other, and we as a coaching staff had a lot of trust in our players. So we're able to really utilize that in key situations, whether it be being able to design something at the end of the game where we throw it up to Emily because she's a good leaper and can go get it, or different matchups that we have throughout the course of games where we feel like we can take advantage of. I think that's been really exciting is, 1 through 14 in uniform can be ready and utilized at any given moment.
5 straight on the road. You go out and go 5 for 5 and to show what you guys did, close games and getting out there and not just offensively too, coach, but defensively and getting stops, getting steals, getting rebounds. It really has been both the offense and the defense working, especially on the road.
Yeah, and that's what I mean by finding different ways. When for instance, against Lindenwood, there was a time where we weren't very good offensively and we were finding a hard time scoring the basketball, and understanding in those moments that you really have to lock in on the defensive end to get stops and then critical rebounds down the stretch. Like those are all great game moments that, again, hopefully will help us down the stretch.
So about Asia Davis, 5 straight double-doubles. She's averaging a double-double so far. What have you seen from Asia so far this season?
Well, she provides such a calming presence for us on the floor. Obviously her skill set is tremendous on the offensive end and her ability to rebound the basketball. All those things are kind of a given. But she's really evolved into a great leader for us. She, again, gives us that sense of calm on the floor, understanding that when she touches the ball, good things are going to happen. And so she's relied upon in a lot of different ways as she's continued to evolve into her senior year.
And again, you don't want her to be too ball hoggish, but when she's down there, she's got a good look. Yeah, she wants to look for the open player, the open teammate to knock down a shot, but she can also score right at the rim. And I think there's opportunities where she can take over games. And I think we're going to see more of that in the upcoming schedule.
Yeah, I think more often than not, we have to remind Asia that she needs to be a little bit more aggressive, especially when she touches the ball in the bottom half of the lane, because she's become such a good passer. And again, she has a lot of faith in her teammates, which is all good. But there are times when she has space to work that we need her to just score the basketball.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch. Double-double for Asia Davis so far. And then you have Shelby Coker, which you talked about, but both Asia and Shelby, not just MAC players of the week so far, but MAC Scholar athletes of the week. And Shelby against Eastern Illinois getting the step back game winner, the long two. But again, she's come back after that injury. She looks composed. She's glad to be back out there, coach. And you can see it in her play. She just feels like she's having fun out there.
Yeah, for sure. And again, a lot like Asia, when the ball's in Shelby's hands, I think it provides a sense of confidence to everybody else. I know it does for us as coaches. And so she's been in a situation where we've asked her to do a lot. She's used to that. She's really come up big for us in key situations. But those two on the floor, I think make us really hard to guard.
And then the other starting lineups, and you've had the same starting lineup all year: Emma Carter, Jaden Marable, Laura Nickel. It just seems like they know their role. That's not a bad thing. They know what they're doing out there. They kind of just fit right in to what Asia and Shelby are doing. And it's a nice combination, nice chemistry with the starting 5.
Yeah, we talk all the time about really understanding where your skill set is and what you bring to the table on any given night. And you mentioned the starters, and a lot of people may look statistically like that doesn't make a lot of sense. But you look at what John A's been able to do off the bench, or you look at what Tara's been able to give us off the bench. Grace is another great example. Yeah. Like everybody really understands where they fall into what we need from this group. And when you're deep, you have to have that. You have to have buy-in from a lot of different people, because essentially you can look at our roster and say, well, we might have, 6, 7, 8 starters. Well, not everybody can start. So really honing in on what it is you bring to the table that can help this team win. And I think we've done a pretty good job of that.
I just like John A. Poison and the role she's kind of lit into. She knows, hey, I don't mind coming off the bench. And we saw the big game versus Western Illinois with 32 points and knocking down the threes. But it's just fun to have her out there, and it just seems like she's having fun and she's playing well. And again, the personality of John A. Poison, you got to be around the team. She's just fun to be around.
Well, winning is fun too.
Yes.
Smile on a lot of people's faces. And so I think all of those things, this is a very fun group, like you mentioned, to be around. Winning helps that, but also just continuing to talk about the bigger picture and where we're trying to get to, and making sure that every single day we keep that in mind so we can continue to get better.
You mentioned Grace Hunter. Great to see her back out there after the injury last year. Her minutes are growing. We know what she can do on the defensive end, but her offense, you're starting to see some of her knocking down some shots, and we haven't seen that, right? She's been injured. It's great to have Grace back in the line.
Yeah, and for Grace, I mean, she's one of those instant energy type players as well. The juice group that comes off the bench. John A. plays with a lot of emotion, a lot of juice. Tara's the same way. Grace is the same way. So that group really in the rotation that comes off the bench can be a great spark for us, and that is definitely led by Grace.
Does it make it difficult for you when you've got that much depth and you got players that can shoot and you got weapons to find the five on the floor that you want at a time? You've got so many options out there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously for me, I have to have a feel for the game and what's going on, and again, matchups that are going to be in our favor. But to have at my disposal so many different weapons, I just think that that's great because, again, on any given night, you never know what you're going to need. It also gives us the opportunity if, someone is in foul trouble or again, they put a small lineup on the floor, can we match it with a small lineup? There's a lot of options that we have. And hopefully we can continue to keep everybody healthy and have those options.
It's good to be back home on Saturday taking on SIUE. Get back home where you guys have not lost yet. Just be back on the home court and be in front of the home fans who missed you. Been on the road 5 straight. To be back, seems like you guys have momentum. You guys are playing well. You got confidence. Great to be back home on Saturday.
No doubt. I mean, to be able to put back on the white uniforms will be a lot of fun. I know the kids are looking forward to it. Again, it's been a long time. We've played some good basketball. The fans have been great as far as being engaged with us, even when we're on the road. But now to have them in the stands and hopefully be able to play, again, in front of friends and family will be really exciting.
Then go on the road to IUPUI to finish off the non-conference part of the schedule. An opportunity, again, to maintain momentum. IUPUI, talk a little bit about what they are this season so far, again, going back on the road after SIUE.
Yeah, I mean, that'll be a great challenge for us, a really storied program, especially in recent history. They have gone through a coaching change, but, at times it looks like they haven't skipped a beat. They have some great pieces. And I say all the time, winning on the road is hard. Winning in general is hard, but winning on the road is hard. So that will be a great challenge for us to round out the non-conference, to be able to go to IUPUI, and I'm sure be challenged in all facets of the game.
You're now second on the all-time wins list in NIU women's basketball. A huge accomplishment, but it seems like, in being around you as much as I am in the team, that the better days are ahead, and you can tell this team is still learning together. Yes, you're getting wins, but they're not playing their best basketball yet. You can take it to another level.
That's for sure. And again, even today, we talked a little bit in preparation for Saturday's game. We have to continue to evaluate each and every individual so that collectively we can continue to grow as a basketball team. And I think we've seen that. I mean, we've seen stretches of basketball where we have played exceptional basketball. We've seen stretches of basketball where we've struggled some. And again, finding a way to get the win, absolutely the most important, but really the continued development is critical for what we hope to be playing our best basketball in March, not necessarily December.
As you get done with this non-conference with SIUE and IUPUI, after that, you got a little bit of a break before you get ready for Central Michigan at the start of January. Do you work on things after that, or is it just get a little rest, get through Christmas, and then, hey, we're ready for the MAC?
Well, the nice thing is the players will have about 5 days off. It'll be a great opportunity for them to get home, spend some time with their family. Everybody looks forward to the holiday break. It's good for them mentally. It's good for them physically. And then we'll come back after Christmas and really kind of get back at it. We will have a few days in preparation for that opener at Central to kind of get our legs back, work a little bit more on us before we begin prep for Central. And then the grind is real, right?
Yeah.
The MAC is what it is. And we look forward to the challenge that's going to present on a night basis. We have a lot of returning players and they understand what that's like. And I know they're very much looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to Saturday. It's sweater day, Christmas sweaters. You call it ugly sweater. I think there's some nice looking Christmas sweaters, but noon, SIUE, NIU at the Convocation Center. Santa Claus is going to be there. I've got my wish list. I'm going to sit on his lap. We'll be ready, but I'm first looking for a win on Saturday. Good luck.
Well, I hope you've been a good boy, so we'll see. Thanks, Andy. Appreciate it.
It was great talking men's and women's basketball this week with Rashon Burno and Lisa Carlsen. Hopefully the women can get it to 9 in a row on Saturday, taking on SIUE, and the men can get going on a win streak, taking on BCU this weekend, and back home on Tuesday, taking on Albany. Don't forget to subscribe on this NIU Athletics YouTube page. We're going to have more post-game news conferences and highlights. Everything's coming up right here. More NIU Weeklies coming up right here at NIU Athletics' YouTube page. Thank you for watching. More NIU Weeklies come. Season's greetings. Merry Christmas. We'll talk to you soon. Go Huskies.